The Dolly, the ship that brought down the Baltimore Bridge, ran into a problem with its propulsion system months before the crash, and 6 workers presumed dead after a crippled cargo ship knocks down Baltimore Bridge. The Titanic law helps ship owner limit liability in bridge collapse. Biden says federal government will fund Baltimore Bridge rebuild. Crypto hit by $63 million hack of Munchables game, in one of year's biggest exploits, and Munchables hacker returned $62.8 million Ether without ransom. Qcoin used for $9 billion in suspect crypto trades, US says, and CFTC classifies Ethereum and Litecoin as commodities in a new lawsuit. Visa and MasterCard agree $30 billion settlement over US transaction fees.
She says, U.S. CEOs should invest in China, economy hasn't peaked. Japan steps closer to intervention, as yen hits lowest since 1990. In India, government can't solve all social, economic problems such as unemployment, says chief economic advisor. 6 killed in latest Pakistan militant attack on China interests. North Korea has no interest in summit with Japan or talks, Kim's sister says.
Universal Music to distribute BTS, rappers and new Hive deal. Pierce Brosnan gives Aaron Taylor Johnson his blessing to be the next James Bond. The man has the chops, talent and the charisma. Netflix loses bid to dismiss inventing anti-defamation lawsuit.
Pirates of the Caribbean producer Jerry Bruckheimer confirms franchise is getting a reboot with 6th movie. Timothée Chalamet signs Warner Brothers deal to star in and produce new movies after Wonka and Dune's success. The Righteous Gemstones star Tony Cavallero joins Woody Harrelson and Owen Wilson in 1984 Olympics set thriller Lips Like Sugar. Trump threatened Pence in phone call before January 6 riot, new transcript shows. Trump is selling $60 Bibles with God Bless the USA, singer Lee Greenwood. NBC News ousts Ronna McDaniel after network's anchors launch unprecedented on-air rebellion. Recently, NBC hired former RNC chair Ronna McDaniel, who has demonized the press and refused to acknowledge Biden was fairly elected. Zelensky a peculiar kind of Jew? Kremlin says to explain its claim that he supports ISIS. Russia's FSB chief accuses Ukraine, US and UK of being behind Moscow shooting. Moscow concert hall attackers first headed for Belarus, says Lukashenko, contradicting Putin claim they fled to Ukraine. Ukraine to receive $1.5 billion from World Bank to support reconstruction.
Apple set to unveil AI strategy at June 10 developers conference. Tim Cook attends Chinese climate change meeting, says AI is key to solving it. Altered photo of Diana from 1997 sparks conspiracy theories. 2025 Mercedes-Benz G550 swaps V8 for Turbo 6 with more HP, less torque. Tesla mandates demo of full self-driving mode to new customers. Google Street View expands to Kazakhstan using pickup trucks. Court documents reveal how Facebook's Anavo VPN tracks Snapchat data for Project Ghostbusters, as Mark Zuckerberg told Facebook execs to figure out how to track encrypted usage on rival apps like Snap and YouTube. Unsealed documents show U.S. Department of Justice blames Apple for lack of super apps like WeChat in the U.S. U.S. Federal Trade Commission could reach settlement with or sue TikTok over probe on children's privacy, says source.
Major brands deny shrinkflation, as Heinz says reducing the number of beans in a tin doesn't count. U.S. vows to plow on with Gaza airdrops despite deaths, Hamas plea to stop. Researchers show that introduced tardigrade proteins can slow metabolism in human cells. Red Dead Redemption is now playable through GTA Plus on PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and S. First human patient to receive a Neuralink brain implant used it to stay up all night playing Civilization 6.
Producer who accused Sean Diddy Combs adds Cuba Gooding Jr. to sexual assault, harassment lawsuit. The British Museum is suing a former curator it says stole 1,800 items and tried to sell them. Polish officers forced their way into former minister's home in corruption probe.
Thailand's lower house passes bill to legalize same-sex marriage. Kansas moves to join Texas and other states in requiring porn sites to verify people's ages. Cholesterol tablets spark health scare after 2 die in Japan, more than 100 hospitalized.
Robert F. Kennedy Jr. picks Nicole Shanahan as his running mate for his independent White House bid. Trump Truth Social shares worth $58 as first trading day on Wall Street closes. Kamala Harris announces new office to implement red flag gun control laws.
China opens WTO dispute against U.S. subsidies on EVs. WTO faults Australian inquiry into trade dispute with China. In Brazil, court grants exemption from import tax on orders up to $100. 60% in Japan don't like cherry blossom viewing with colleagues, call events work as per survey. Public employees in Argentina go on 48 hours national strike.
Milei confronts Maduro and warned him that Argentina will protect the 6 leaders persecuted by the Venezuelan regime. Venezuela repudiates Brazil's note on elections, it seems dictated by the USA, as Lula government changes tone and criticizes for the first time blocking the opposition candidacy in Venezuela.
The CEO of Ryanair says the airline would regularly find missing seat handles and tools under floorboards on Boeing planes. Japan aims to launch next-generation passenger aircraft by around 2035. Greece plans to sell F-16s Mirages to rationalize its fighter inventory.
The goal was a massacre of Tel Aviv, Hamas's full plan for October 7th revealed. Israel says, UN resolution damaged Gaza ceasefire talks, and Israeli delegation still in Doha, talks on Gaza continue, claims Qatari diplomat. Hamas refuses to confirm death of its number 3 Marwan Issa, whereas Israel claims senior Hamas commander Marwan Issa killed in Gaza strike.
Cocoa prices hit $10,000 per metric ton for the first time ever. Malawi follows Zambia in declaring drought disaster as El Niño brings hunger to southern Africa. About 50,000 affected by torrential rain in southern Mozambique. 2 Chinese app groups ramp up cyber espionage against ASEAN countries. Suspicious new JIT package grabs data from industrial systems. iPhone 16 accessory maker prepares for all new capture button. Canva acquires design platform Affinity.
7 hackers associated with Chinese government charged with computer intrusions targeting perceived critics of China and U.S. businesses and politicians, operated as part of the App 31 hacking group in support of China's Ministry of State Security's transnational repression, economic espionage and foreign intelligence objectives. Serious security breach hits EU police agency. UK court says Assange can't be extradited on espionage charges until USA rules out death penalty. HSBC launches tokenized gold for retail customers in Hong Kong as government pushes for publicly accessible digital assets. Hong Kong-based asset manager VSFG and Value Partners apply for spot Bitcoin ETF. NATO makes its wartime debut as a climate tech investor. Study documents the slowing of Atlantic currents. Malaysia braces for worst as heat wave to run through mid-April.
Australia waters down fuel emissions laws in blow to Tesla. Pakistan to seek U.S. sanction waivers for gas pipeline from Iran. Recently Voice of America had reported as, no need for U.S. waiver to build gas pipeline with Iran, Pakistan says. DHL says globalization expands despite geopolitical and policy headwinds.
Court agrees to stop New York from seizing Trump's assets if he puts up $175 million within 10 days. Trump's Stormy Daniels hush money trial to start on April 15, judge rules. U.S. Appeals Court finds for Donald Trump Jr. in defamation suit by former coal CEO Don Blankenship.
Thailand, Philippines embrace nuclear power to cut emissions. Rosatom plans to build tokamak with reactor technologies by 2030, and helium from Siberian, Far Eastern fields to cover 45% of global demand, claimed by scientists. In the U.S., Energy Agency announces $6 billion to slash emissions in industrial facilities.
Swedish appeals court rules space rock should stay with the owner of the property where it landed. Parents file $1.5 million lawsuit after Quebec teacher accused of selling students' artwork online. Malaysia Minimart executives charged over a lawsuit. The Audi R8 is officially dead. Porsche will stop selling Boxster Cayman in Europe due to anti-hacking law. Lucid Motors raises another $1 billion from Saudi Arabia as it searches for luxury EV buyers. Nissan to launch 30 new models by 2026, including 14 gas and 16 electrified cars, where Nissan to launch 7 new models and refresh most of U.S. lineup by 2026. Fisker deal talks with big automaker collapse, NYSE to delist stock. In Germany, Transport Minister wants to invest €150 million in German air taxi startup. UK and US sanction Chinese entities for malicious cyber activity against British MPs and Pentagon contractors. New Zealand accuses China of hacking parliament, condemns activity. Millions of Americans caught up in Chinese hacking plot, announced by the US. Chinese-American World War II veterans who served, despite being denied U.S. citizenship, honored by Congress. Records confirm Trump's mother-in-law came to U.S. through process he derided. Shamima Begum loses initial bid to challenge citizenship removal at Supreme Court. 1 month ago, Shamima Begum, the former IS wife, loses UK citizenship appeal.
UN Security Council demands immediate Gaza ceasefire as U.S. abstains. Bloomberg comments as the U.S. just fired a first diplomatic shot at Israel. Israel cancels Washington visit after U.S. allows UN Gaza ceasefire resolution to pass. Trump calls on Israel to finish up the war in Gaza because it is losing a lot of the world.
Clunky new $3,300 clear sticky tape bracelet from fashion house Balenciaga mercilessly mocked on China social media. Yet another sealed 4 GB original iPhone brings in over $100,000 at auction. Africa seen as growing hotspot for $3,000 in night hotel rooms. 27 Texans make Bloomberg's Billionaires 2024 index as more rich Americans move to Texas. Mumbai dethrones Beijing as Asia's new billionaire capital, announced by the Huron Report. The new boss of Boeing's commercial airplanes division is a third-generation employee.
Titanic door that saved Kate Winslet sells for $718,750, beating Indy's whip. BBC looks for commercial deals as it faces potential end of license fee. Barcelona's famous Sagrada Familia will finally be completed in 2026.
Sean Diddy Combs' LA and Miami homes raided by law enforcement, officials say, and Sean Diddy Combs' private jet lands in Caribbean amid U.S. home raids. Kate Middleton conspiracy theories fueled by China, Russia and Iran after cancer diagnosis.
Google search will now show you AI summarized results, whether you want them or not. Hackers hijack GitHub accounts in supply chain attack, affecting top GG and others. Do Kwon released from Montenegrin prison on bail. Terraform Labs civil trial begins in NYC.
Silicon Valley's biggest city is training AI to detect homeless encampments. Ron DeSantis signs bill requiring parental consent for kids under 16 to hold social media accounts, and Florida bans social media for kids under 14. Republic of Georgia wants to ban changing gender in sweeping new anti-LGBTQ+ law.
CBD products don't ease pain and are potentially harmful, new study finds. Chick-fil-A backtracks from its no antibiotics and chicken pledge, blames projected supply shortages. Life might survive the sulfuric acid clouds of Venus, new experiments find.
Elon Musk's ex loses lawsuit against research group that reported rise in hate speech, racist content on social network, as judge tosses Elon Musk's ex lawsuit against anti-hate group. Lawsuit against YouTube led by Steve Wozniak set to continue. EU rejects Apple's European App Store changes, and the company could be fined 10% of global turnover.
Boeing demands Virgin Galactic destroy all data from its failed space tourism partnership. Qualcomm ends bid to buy Israel's Autotalks after antitrust probe. Forgotten Tetris sequel Tetris Reversed resurfaces, after a decade. Sony develops new 247-megapixel medium format sensor. BBC will stop using AI for Doctor Who promotion after receiving complaints. Cillian Murphy to lead Blood Run's Cole film adaptation at Universal. Anne Hathaway lost roles after Oscar win because of how toxic my identity had become online, says Christopher Nolan backed her, I had an angel in him. Israel pushes back on UN ceasefire call. Gallant says, we've no moral right to end war, and Israel to attack Hamas everywhere, says Defense Minister, as Gallant says, if IDF ends Gaza war early, Hezbollah will start next war sooner. Brazilian police launch investigation into Bolsonaro's two-night sleepover at Hungarian embassy. As reported, Bolsonaro, facing investigations, hid at Hungarian embassy, and is it a crime to sleep in the embassy, asks Bolsonaro.
Ukraine relies on Starlink for its drone war. Russia appears to be bypassing sanctions to use the devices too. Japan to sell fighter jets in latest break from post-war pacifist ideals, and North Korea says Japan's prime minister offered to meet with leader Kim Jong-un soon. In Argentina, the government finalizes the purchase of F-16 supersonic aircraft from Denmark. Binance seeks new buyer for Russian business following ComEx closure. London Stock Exchange will launch crypto ETNs tracking BTC and ETH on May 28. U.S. sanctions 3 cryptocurrency exchanges for helping Russia evade sanctions. Putin says Islamic extremists raided concert hall but attack masterminds are yet to be found, and Moscow court arrests 7th defendant in Crocus City Hall attack case. Macron says terrorists who hit Russia had tried to attack France. Kyrgyzstan calls on citizens not to travel to Russia. Indonesia's military arrests 13 elite soldiers accused of involvement in cruel torture. Recently, Indonesian military apologizes after West Papuan man filmed being tortured in water-filled barrel. Hong Kong's John Lee vows to step up intelligence gathering analysis for law enforcement after Article 23 legislation.
SEC seeking $2 billion in fines from Ripple, according to chief legal officer. The crypto airdrops are not securities, lawsuit against SEC argues. Binance blocked by Philippine securities watchdog. FTX to sell $884 million of Anthropic shares to 24 institutional investors. Adam Neumann offers to buy back WeWork for more than $500 million, WSJ reports. 4 months ago, WeWork, once a $47 billion firm, files for bankruptcy after accruing $2.9 billion debt. Hong Kong court declares HK01 founder Yupun Hui bankrupt, over HK $470 million debt.
Indonesia hunts clues as study suggests Javan tiger may still exist. Newly discovered Australian beetle almost mistaken for bird poo. Archaeologists are now finding